I trained Laugar for a few years.
You've gone stiff.
Oh, have I? Have I gone stiff now?
You went stiff then.
Did I go stiff now?
Yeah, you've gone stiff and your sound's going. Your sound's going as well.
Oh, no. Okay, you've gone stiff too. Right, hang on. Let me
You're breaking up.
Yeah, let me close this. Oh, no. Right, you got me? Hello?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Hello?
Well, you're gone. Yeah, you're back there.
Am I stiff or not?
Yeah, no, you're okay now. Just bear with me. This might help. See what happens there. Okay.
Right. I lost all my things now. Okay.
You fight before?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good defense?
Yeah.
Must train different in America. Your defense stinks.
You are the new student. Come closer.
You're listening to the Kung Fu Podcast presented by James Still.
I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
And Steve Newby.
What I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
Just for the listeners, you give me half hour to think of something to talk about.
Well, no, actually, I've given you like 2 weeks.
I couldn't do anything in 2 weeks. All the 2 weeks I've been practicing, I've been training for different things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a mortgage.
All right. Oh, sorry. So is this the excuse now? It's
This
your
is
life's work, man. It's your life's
Yeah.
work. All right.
Mm.
Okay. 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 Right. We're going to go. We are on what number are we on?
I have no idea.
45. 45. Okay, we're on 45. We're going to go. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
With me, James Still, and the old man Noobs. Fresh as a daisy in Canada. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine.
You did a bit of exploring, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to the other side of Canada. It's closer to you than it is to where I am now. It's quite unusual, that, isn't it? Amazing.
That's just weird. That's weird.
It's about 6,000 miles away.
Are you
other side of the country?
Yeah, you were going to visit some kung fu clubs, weren't you? But you didn't get.
Yeah. There was only one, but there was no website or anything. And I texted them and asked them if I could go. I emailed. No, I didn't email. There was no email.
Okay.
So I just texted him when I got there, and
Right.
yeah, nothing, unfortunately.
well.
Not a lot there, to be honest. There's only about 700,000 people in. It's about the size of Ireland.
Right. Where were you again?
New Brunswick.
Yeah.
And we went to Nova Scotia, and we went to Prince Edward Island as well.
Right. Oh, right. Brilliant. Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So we've got some stuff we want to talk about, which is what, old man? I don't know. Right. Yeah. We'll start off. Right. We had a comment on the video.
You're the one who gets the damn comments.
No, well, yeah, okay. So we had a comment on the vid, on the second set vid, which is quite old now. We should really do a third one.
Yeah, I've done like the garden. We've got also some slabs down as well.
Yeah.
We're only enough for skipping.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's just enough.
Okay, all right. So the comment was from Mac.
A question from Mac.
Yeah, well,
comment.
well, it's a comment.
Yeah.
Okay, and and I kind of sympathise with Mac, what he says. He says, I trained Laugar for a few years, but left because all y'all did every night was a 15-minute warm-up, and then your combination of blocks, then you practice your form for your sash, and then sparring. Never learnt any self-defense like I did in Bujinkan and Krav Maga. That's what Mac said. Now,
I guess he's
Okay,
from.
fair enough.
Is he from Liverpool?
I don't know. I took a guess. But I don't know. But
He can't tar everybody with the same brush.
He's got to be taking the piss though, because I've seen Bujinkan, and that's the guy with the purple hair, and he's
Really?
like controlling people with his little finger and stuff. So I got to be. But to be fair to the sentiment of the comment, I sent one back. I said, I said, alas, not all Lao is taught equally. Where did you train? Yeah. And it's not really, is it? We're not the best, but
everybody. I mean, many old school people train in the very old traditional way and just insist it's always going to be the same. And I mean, you can tell that. We've talked about this many times about people when you watch people training and you see like a black sash teaching a class, and he teaches it exactly the way that he was taught it.
Yeah.
So he hasn't evolved at all. All he does is the same moves at the same size. There's no differentiation. There's no development. There's no evolution. It's just, so when you see him practicing on his own, he's still doing the set in exactly the same way. Yeah. He's not making it his, and it's almost as if he's trying to show people that he knows the set in the way that it was taught. Well, you'd know that if you teach it in the way you were taught. But when you train it in the way it's going to be useful to you. So
yeah.
What's the point otherwise?
No.
So a lot of people, the beginners will come, or senior, whatever grades come. They come to a class and they see people training in exactly the same regimented way and exactly the same thing each. And that's not down to a style, that's down to the way people teach. That's just down to the method that they use to inflict or instill knowledge on people.
Yeah, I think though we in Laogar there is a lot of syllabus to go through to a point, isn't there?
Well, all styles.
I get that, but we've got sort of a comprehensive sort of syllabus that whether you like it or not, you kind of have to do. But it does kind of, sort of it's time consuming, isn't it? And it takes away from
and especially when you've only got 1 day a week to train or two days a week to train, you haven't got a full-time club, then that's always going to be the problem. And of course, people don't train that often. They're going to come back. They're not going to know it. They're going to have to start from scratch again each time. Every week they have to get taught the same thing. So it's partially the fact that you haven't got full-time gyms, or that traditionally they're not necessarily full-time gyms. Few people can afford a decent gym, and unless they're really into the money. And a lot of the traditionalists just really weren't into the money, so they had their little church hall and they went to work, and that's pretty much the same right the way up the scale.
But I mean, it's worth saying it doesn't matter if you've got a full-time gym. It doesn't mean you're good.
No, it doesn't know it. Oh, I'm not suggesting that at all.
No, I know
what
you're
I'm
not.
saying is you can apply different training methods. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But as a student, you're not going to be able to learn it as fast as you could if you were at least, But the thing is it's down to the student. It's like people used to say to me when I used to teach. They used to say, how many nights a week can I train? And I'll say, well, you can learn once a week. You can train 24/7.
Oh.
So that's the point. When you come to learn something, providing you're being taught, you'll learn it to a degree, but then you've got to practice it. You've got a whole week to practice that thing, and if you come back the next week and you've got to be taught the same thing, that's not the instructor's fault.
No,
it's your fault. You train it or you don't train it, and a lot of people kind of think, oh well, if I get it now, I'll take it home in a little paper bag and I'll be able to keep it, and then next week I can put some more in. You can't. You got to train. And I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of people. Well, let's say about 90% of people who train. Yeah.
No, I definitely sort of second that. I mean, I used to practice everywhere when I first started out. My God, in the party room,
No,
in McDonald's.
You frightened the guy.
The electrician came in and I'm like, "Ah!" You know.
I used to train in the back of the truck.
Yeah. Oh,
I used to sleep in the truck and I used to train in the back of the truck, and I used to train on the car parks where I'd park the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to remember going all over the place, training everywhere.
Brilliant.
And then I'd go to everyone's club as well.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever I was in the truck, I'd always be able to find out where the local club was, Lao, and go. So I went to Woking, I went to Aylesbury, I went, oh Jesus, I went everywhere. You know? Yeah.
What is a question for you, right? It's spring chicken, old man, are you? Let's be fair. You are in the the winter of your life, not to be too blunt about it. So, any advice out there for the old fogies training martial art? In your declining years. No, you know what I mean, because.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, you certainly feel it as you get older, and I'll tell you what, going down and getting up again in Farkune and getting down in Sharp Choi and stuff. I did go down the other day in Sharp Choi and amazed myself.
Did you get back up?
I did. I got back up as well. I managed to get back up on both occasions. There's two in it.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, if you don't practice, you don't feel it the next day, or the day after that. And it's you just tear muscles so easily. Yeah. Just minute tears, and you just think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that.
Well, you always said to me, you're doing whatever your age is, year-old kung fu.
Yeah, you're doing 25-year-old kung fu. You're doing 15-year-old kung fu. Yeah. I'm doing 60-year-old kung fu.
Yeah. So what have you had to sort of make concessions in your old age?
You don't kick so high. You don't.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it, really, and you choose wisely what you're going to do.
Choose wisely.
But the thing is, it is about what you understand and how you respond to other people. It's what other people are doing. I had a guy in the car the other day training a student, and he says, "Oh, I'm top karate, whatever in Canada, doing this and doing that." And I went, "Oh, really?" And when he started talking to me, I says to him, he started saying, "Oh, we do these movements and so on." I says, "What, you mean kata?" And he went, "Woo!" And he kind of got excited because I understood what he said. And then I didn't tell him that I did it at all until later. And then, but it was like the way he said it. It's like he's 16 or something like that. And I thought, okay, so I gave him a little bit of a couple of questions, and I said, okay. You're going to throw a punch at me. Where's my target? What am I going to do? How am I going to counter? Right. And I went, oh, well, you've got the face and you've got the chest. And I says, no. I said, I'm going to punch your arm. I'm going to punch your arm because your arm is the closest target. I says, if you kick me, what am I going to do? And he went, I don't know. And he still didn't know. Top guy in Canada.
Yeah.
And I says, I'm going to wrap my knuckles across your shin. Oh, that'll hurt, he says. I thought, do you know what I mean? It's just like people don't see what is the simplest method.
Right.
And they're always looking at, oh, I've got a target in front of me. I've got to reach it at this. I've got to open him up and I've got to do this. Yeah. No, as you get older, you ain't got time. You ain't got the power. You haven't got the strength.
Yeah.
Or the speed. And therefore, you've got to have knowledge about what he's doing and how he's doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if he's going to throw a punch and you've got the time, you've got a lot more time to see it. Simply if you hold him back there, and I think you can anticipate it a little earlier. So hopefully anticipation becomes the most prominent thing. Speed becomes less effective, and so does power.
Yeah. Well, so can you define what exactly you mean by speed? Because we kind of, I'll suggest that speed doesn't just mean how fast you can throw a punch or a kick.
No, that's right, because you will get to a certain point with certain people, like people in the same class or whatever, where you will equal them at the same, and you will not be able to get any faster than they are. You'll get as fast as them. So the next opportunity for you is to slow them down.
Yeah.
So if you can slow someone down, that makes you faster than them.
Yeah.
So that's the objective, really, is to force other people to slow down. And often that means, creating some kind of pain, creating some kind of distance, or creating some kind of obstacle that will make it very difficult for them then to compete on the level they hope to.
Yes.
You put obstacles in their way, it's very difficult for them. I mean, a typical example is if someone's crazy and they're mad and they're trying to get at you in a pub and you throw chairs in the way, it's going to slow him down. And it's also going to make it very difficult for him to actually keep his balance. If he's falling over chairs, gives you the opportunity to be able to hit him or escape.
Yeah, right.
So there's a typical example of how you would slow someone who's much faster than you or stronger than you down.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's so basic, it's untrue. So, but that's what I'm talking about. You're old, you're wise. You don't really want to go in the places where you may get in a situation anyway.
No.
And you can easily diffuse situations. And you know what? Very few people, only complete lunatics, are going to be, trying to hit old people. But of course it does happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they kind of think they're already dominating you.
Mm-hmm.
They already think they've won the fight. They haven't even started yet. So when they want to argue with you, particularly in road rage situations, for instance, road rage, when they know that you're an old man, they say, "Oh, shut up, old man," or whatever, and then you clout them in the neck, and they shut up.
Did you do that? Did you?
I have done.
I don't know. Oh yeah. No, it's just I don't. Like I'm 37 now, and I kind of, I'll do things and then I'll go, oh yeah, me knee is knocking a bit, and what? Oh, this wasn't like this 10 years ago, But at the same time, I do I feel mentally, a bit sharper.
I feel sharp.
Yeah,
in my head.
no. I
feel I could pick up a 21-year-old girl in my head. It ain't gonna happen. And I don't mean weightlifting.
I know what you mean. So, yeah, it's funny because we get a lot of injuries. Mind you, I mean, a lot of the guys I teach are sort of north. Yeah,
that's. I mean, athletes have a certain shelf life, and that's it. Boxers have a certain shelf. I mean, look, how many old boxers do you see, and then they come out of retirement?
Yeah, but that's a sporting context, though, isn't it? When
it's
you're
a
talking
physical
about
context.
Yeah, but when you're talking about martial art as a fit in the physical, in the context of physicality. You'll be the first to say, well, it doesn't matter if you're fit or unfit, if you've got good science and
as long as you've practiced it, and as long as you can react, and as long as you actually can move and apply the technique or, accept a technique, in other words, get hit. Yeah. As long as you've trained, you can't just take a sloppy body and expect it to become good just because you have knowledge.
I'm not suggesting that for a second, not for a second. But I am suggesting
if you've trained in your lifetime, then you should be strong. You'll be stronger.
Yeah, well,
it's like with all sports.
You'd like to think.
I would like. Yeah, I'm still dreaming.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's just that's all. Yeah. Get a few more injuries.
And the trouble is, your attitude, is there as well. You're kind of cocky. Yeah. So as long as you don't put yourself out of your depth and get out of your depth.
Yeah,
you can't expect to be able to, defeat crazy, strong people.
Yeah.
So, but you don't have to, because when is there any a time when that happens? I mean, people are going to want to attack you. People who, robbers or whatever. Then but they're not particularly trained. So. If they were trained, I don't think they'd be taking that path. But it's been known. We know a few. So
yeah, no, absolutely. I was going to talk about. Have you ever heard of a guy called DK Yoo? Have you ever heard of this guy, DK Yoo?
DK Yoo. Is that a Chinese name? Yoo?
No.
Or is
it's
it just
YOO.
DKU, like
DK,
like the drink DK?
DK, the letters, and then U YOO. He's a Korean dude.
You okay? Yeah.
You, and you might have heard of him because he doesn't like motorbikers. He keeps hitting them with the helmets on. And if you know DK Yoo's coming to town, invest in some motorbike helmet shares because he's going to be wrecking them all with his back fist. I'll show you who DK Yoo is. Watch this. Oh. So the DK Yoo's in the red, by the way.
Yeah, I figured that.
Just so you know. And I told you he doesn't like people with crash helmets on.
Yeah.
Give me your initial thoughts. What do you think?
Doesn't want to hurt his hands, does he? Well, he's not doing anything different to anyone doing a back fist. But they already know that he's doing a back fist as well, you know. So I guess that's why they want to wear helmets. Yeah.
He's a bit of a controversial figure, is DK Yoo.
But he likes to throw some power, and I mean, don't you think that everybody who creates these kind of videos are demonstrating how powerful they can be by getting the people to mock up in safety equipment, whether it's a helmet or a big Mr. Blobby
I like
uniform.
that one. I like that one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's basically demonstrating the same as everybody else would do. He's got an elbow, he's got a back fist, and he's closing the gap and pressing on the legs. That's no different to what we would do.
Yeah.
But he's doing it in a way that he likes to. Obviously he's stacked them all up with safety equipment, including a helmet, and I'll tell you something. If they're their helmets, or if they're the, I think they've probably been a bit tight on the budget with the safety equipment.
Well, there's not a lot of fun. I was expecting a foam man, but
yeah,
that's DK Yoo. Now the thing with DK Yoo is he's on an individual level, he looks all right doing it, but he's got there's a few videos of him messing around, doing some sparring and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think his sparring's like? You've not seen him, but what would you imagine his sparring to be sort of like?
You would have thought he would be okay at sparring, but it's highly unlikely he's lifting his legs that much, because he seems to like that back fist and elbows and close quarter fighting, which is good stuff.
It's good stuff, but we have to suggest that it's good stuff when your attacker is not being violent.
Well, yes, that's true. I mean, the attacker's all prepared to get hit, isn't he? He's attacking on call. He's attacking on, specifically, for the guy. The guy knows there's going to be two people. He doesn't know. He knows there's going to be one person. So he's going to do his techniques in accordance with what is in that preparation.
Yeah.
So, but that's the same with all, with all training. It's only when you get outside and you start to recognize, you realize you have to respond. So you've got to respond to certain things, and I'm not knocking him at all. I think he looks quite nice. It looks nice,
but I've seen some vids of him training, whatnot, sparring, and the problem he's got is it's very, what's the word? He's a bit, he doesn't have the timing. And and the problem is, I think
that's because it's not set up anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And that's the point.
So anyone can do a demonstration when they'll stand there, say, "Watch, come at me.
Yeah.
Throw this punch, and now I'm going to do this." And they don't have to tell them what they're doing.
No.
But the guy's already on edge anyway. The guy all knows he's going to get hit, but he does it politely. And what happens?
Well, the thing, this will kind of. I think with this guy, he's got lovely footwork.
Yeah.
But he gets a lot of stick from people. And you can kind of see why. It's like some of it's quite, esoteric in terms of, he's holding all the people in a line and stuff like that. he's got a great footwork. He's got a lot of great attributes, I think, to be a good fighter. But
well, he's probably got some very good basics, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it all depends on what organization and what kind of history you had. Fight-wise, I mean, if he's been fighting the same people, particularly if it's Taekwondo, for God's sake, then it's going to be, you know, a little bit different. And, you know, it's kind of very type of boxing stuff. But if you look at his back leg there, when he was throwing those punches, he's throwing his whole weight forward and coming completely off that back leg. So, you know, he's limited to what he's going to do in that sense. Do you know what I mean? So he's not moving forward for. I mean, there you go. He's just throwing basic punches there, as the other guy is.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one. That's a creepy crab move, that. But you know, that was like Michael Jackson. No, see, when they start doing that annoys me. The inch punch and all that. No, I don't like that. And this stuff here is just like, oh, come on. And I mean, it's probably for fun. I get that, you know. But
well, once you've turned I mean, that's obvious there. Once you've turned the one guy the one direction, all the others were following him because they're pushing against the person in front of them. Yeah. They're not pushing him. Yeah. They're pushing the person in front of them. So if the person in front of them is diverted, so will they be diverted. Mm-hmm. And so therefore he only has to, you know, present what do you call it? Resistance to the one person. Once they start pushing, if he's not there anymore, it doesn't matter how much power they've got. He's simply not there anymore. So all he's done is he's twisted the one guy, and all the others are following him. Yeah. So that doesn't make it strong. That simply makes it, you know, tactical, if you like. So, but to demonstrate, you could demonstrate that with one person. Yeah, but it wouldn't look so, you know, amazing.
He's certainly capable of selling himself. I mean, he's a successful guy.
But that's what makes the martial artists of today is that they are not martial artists; they are showmen. Right. Many people. I mean, I'm not saying they're not skilled because some of them are very skilled, but the difference between the person who is simply a martial artist and then the person who's a martial artist with showmanship is that the showmanship gets the people. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how good you are. Like I said before, I mean, it's the same scenario as you're walking down a street and seeing two gyms, and the one you look in it and there's an old Chinese guy able to do amazing things and teach traditionally martial arts. But then you walk down the street a little bit further and you see the guy with the pads and they're throwing these, you know, fast punches and banging pads. Which one are you going to join? You're going to join the one that looks the most exciting. And if someone can sell it rather than just be it, then that's what's going to take, you know, precedence. Unfortunately, that has kind of destroyed martial arts in some way because some people are very good at promote. Look at Bruce Lee, great. You know, he can promote the 1-inch punch to people who've never seen it before.
Oh, that was the thing because no one did see it before.
Exactly, that suddenly makes him amazing. And so it doesn't matter. I mean, if I truly believe, and I know people will comment, but if you was to put Bruce Lee at his age, you know, between 24 and 32 when he died, if you put him in a competition, a contest of semi-contact, he's not going to be any faster than anyone else. No. Right? You're going to get people that are going to kick shit out of him. Yeah. Simply because he's got some technique and he's got a great timing, but so have they. Yeah. Yeah. But they you know, they're going to. He kind
of opened the gates, if you like.
Absolutely.
Which we've discussed before.
Well, it's just the science he used. It's the same science.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can use science and demonstrate it in a demonstration, but then you can use science and use it in constant competition. And who's going to be the best? The person who constantly uses that science to win contests.
No, but I kind of think with this Donkey Kong Wu or whatever his name is, he's tapped into a market, which is sort of economy, emotion, faster, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, and people, you see it and you're taken in with it. straight
Okay,
away.
well, I'm going to give you a scenario here. Okay, so coming from Korea, I would imagine his background is in Taekwondo and so on. It looks to me like he's built up some kind of ideology. You can say Hapkido as well if you want to. But, you can see that he's using ideology or content, if you want, that is fast, back fists and so on.
Yeah.
Those things didn't even exist in Taekwondo, except they're pulling right back and so on. If you've got an audience, but if you've got an audience that is purely or mostly, majority-wise, Taekwondo, you're going to impress them.
Sure, yeah.
That's no detriment to Taekwondo, but that's a fact.
Yeah, he is doing, he's going
just
around
not doing
the
the same style.
He's not doing the same style. No,
so he can go around the world and he can go in front of with his Korean flag and say, I'm from Korea. This is how we do Taekwondo or fighting or whatever. And then all the Taekwondo guys will go, wow, I never thought of that. Well, that's because you keep sticking your bloody legs up in your ear, or that's why. So, if you're taught to lift your leg up, off the ground constantly, then you're never going to do that, because he's going to push you over like everybody else does in contests, in competitions. They never won when we used to fight them in every 2 years. You had a competition between the Taekwondo, the English Karate Association, whatever it was, and Laoga. Yeah. And in the end, it just stopped because they just never won. Yeah. Yeah. They just could never win. And it's down to tactics, and he is utilizing good tactics against people who may have not been taught.
Right, that's the issue with, I think, a lot of people have with the guy. I don't want to, far be it from us to, crap all over people. But
I reiterate, he looks good.
He looks good doing it. He does.
But we're talking about marketing. We're talking about marketing, and we're also talking about showmanship. And if you go to anywhere, same as Bruce Lee, if you go anywhere where they haven't got the same tactics as you, and then you apply better tactics than what they have, knowing full well you have better tactics than them. Then you're going to win. It's like saying, you know what, I'm going to go to a banger race with my Ferrari, and I think I'm going to win, right? If it's a straight run. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, you will. But, that's if you like, you're just not taking the same material. You're not taking the same equipment, if you like. Yeah. And that's why you'll always look good when you go out and do stuff like that. Yeah, and we've seen many of it. Scott Atkins is a typical example. Showmanship, Jesus, he had showmanship because he's a good actor. Yeah, but when he did that kick to you, and he sort of aimed it to your chest, and you were sort of prepared to get it kicked in the chest, and then of course he raised the height of the kick when you were crouched and kicked the top of the pad. That's going to send you flying because you had all your body weight down low. And you're trying to keep it ready for that punt kick into your chest or into your stomach. Instead, what does he do? Kick up here in the top of your chest, practically in your neck, and you're going to boom straight away. You're going backwards. Not only do you not want to get kicked in the neck, but at the same time, the body weight is in a completely wrong place. Yeah, yeah. And he knew that. He placed it there, but that's what feinting is. But it's feinting, showmanship. Oh yeah, absolutely. It was brilliant. Loved it.
Good kick. Good kick. Here, let me show you. Let me show you DK having a bit of a sparring sesh. Yeah, see what you think of this.
So why isn't he wearing a headguard?
Because he's DK Woo. He's Donkey Kong, man.
Oh, okay.
He's only got one glove on as well.
Well, yeah, that's a bit. Right, he's pretty obviously he's going to do a back fist then, isn't he? That's it. It's as simple as that.
So it all suddenly looks a bit. You know what I mean, old man?
Yeah, he's getting it.
There you go.
Yeah. But the guy's not following up either because he's being polite.
Well, yeah.
And I'm sure this guy you've got down in the corner there, whoever he is, some MMA fighter, he's probably commenting the same kind of things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that one guy's got his hands hanging down, doing nothing. When he does throw his punch, he's going to see it anyway because it's just too low. But he's not following anything up. So basically what is happening is the guy is moving every time he moves. And eventually he's hoping to hit him with a back fist.
No,
but he isn't doing anything. He's actually not applying anything in his...
Well,
so although
I don't know. Is he getting warmed up? Is he getting warmed up? Come on, DK. Come on, Donkey Kong. No. Oh, he did the nose flip. Oh,
yeah, and then he turned his head when he threw the punch, and he got hit in the side of the head then.
Right.
And the other guy's only throwing one punch at a time.
Yes.
And he's hit him again, but the other guy's turning his back. He can't fight either. Yeah, so he's basically waiting for it. Why don't you just bloody... You know where he's going to hit. You get your bloody arm up.
Yeah.
He's obviously going to try and hit you in the side of the head. It goes without saying he's trying to play his back fist, isn't he?
Why doesn't the
guy lift his bloody arm up?
You're having way too much fun with this, old man. Way too much fun.
So the guy in the black should be lifting his left arm up to protect his face.
No.
And then the guy's got nowhere to go. Then he's got to start fainting. It's going to slow him down. And the other guy, as he lifts his head, if he's going to aim for his back fist, he might as well just hit him straight in the stomach.
I like DK's foot.
Back fist, stomach. There you go. He got hit.
Yeah. I like DK's footwork, but the problem is he ain't using it, you know?
But he's just thinking he can just do this back fist to anybody.
I know.
We all do that, don't we? We all play around with a bloody back fist, but we're doing it specifically to demonstrate a back fist.
Yeah.
But his back fist is no faster than the other guys.
Yeah.
But the other guy should have his bloody arm up and not be so relaxed.
Yeah. Anyway, that was that. So, I think when you look at you can...
He's technically good. He's,
but we need more sparring.
Yeah, he's shall we say, tactically challenged.
There you go.
Technically good, tactically challenged.
Yeah, but it's amazing, isn't it, when you don't have a compliant partner?
Yeah.
How the chinks in your armor are kind of
suddenly changes. Yeah, it suddenly changes, doesn't it? Yeah.
And but I do like the look of what he does.
I think he looks really good. Like I said, I think he's got a really good training base. But if you think that you're going to go out and then try to prove to people that you can do a back fist, I mean, it's not Bruce Lee era anymore.
No.
So shut up, and you better start putting something else in your arsenal, or at least tactics.
Well,
there's no tactics there. He's waiting for the guy to hit him, but the guy is hitting him. It kind of defeats the object, really, doesn't it? He's got no defense whatsoever. He's simply throwing out the back fist. But the other guy didn't have any defense either, because he was kind of just trying to hit him.
I know.
Kind of under pressure to have to try and hit him.
Yeah.
Because that's what the guy probably told him to. Oh, you got to try and hit me. Okay. Yeah. And then he did.
Yeah.
Oh, shall we give up now?
Yeah. God bless him. I just it's I'd love to know what he charges for his courses and whatnot. And
yeah, exactly. And that's where they make that's what pisses me off, where they make the money. Yeah. And that guy, no doubt an MMA fighter or something. I think I've seen him commenting before. Yeah. They're embarrassed by it too. They hate it, and it just feeds them. That kind of demonstration just feeds them.
Yes, but it rubs off on. This is where you've got a lot of the animosity towards traditional martial arts.
Yeah,
because ultimately that's what this Woo is trying to sort of promote. Well, in a way, it's not.
Because they had no guard up, they had no preparation.
Yeah, I know, but he's trying with all his little, forearm strikes and back fists and shoulder, strikes and all that. It's harking towards a more sort of traditional concept of fighting, meaning
it's coming from a traditional concept of fighting.
Okay, all right. So you're using, a lot of things, but when we can't get basics, understood and practiced properly, this is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you get someone to fight and say, right, okay, I'm going to spar you and I'm going to try and, I want you to try and hit me. And then he does hit him. And then he just lets him and has to keep on moving around because he can't figure out a way of doing it without getting hit. And the guy's got his bloody arms flailing down on the floor, hanging down. You've got to get your arm up. You've at least got to get one arm up, right? So if you're going to be left fighting stand, you're going to have your right arm up. And like that guy was the other way around, wasn't he? So, I mean, even then he was southpaw as well. So let's face it, they were both fighting southpaw, weren't they? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. I think he was switching. I think he was switching.
Oh, right, okay.
Well.
Yeah.
But,
the guy in black?
Well, I think they both were, weren't they?
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't that great. I don't overanalyzing it because it's number one, it's a bit of fun, right? But you can just when you see people under pressure, that okay, that's
then it doesn't make it equals him out, doesn't it?
It does, and everybody, and like you said, you're feeding people like us because we're talking about it, but also the other guys, are a lot less forgiving. So
it brings that's what creates the bad reputation in traditional martial arts, though. When you then say, okay, I'm going to use it physically or in a tactical arena, like he thinks he is there, and then people look at it and say, well, wait a minute, there's no tactics there, there's no strategy there. Basically, you're letting the guy hit you because you've just got no guard whatsoever. Well, if you're going a full contact fight, or even a semi-contact fight with your arms dropping down like that, the likelihood is you're going to get hit because you see them all the time with their arms out, but at least they're bouncing around and got some footwork. And that guy had absolutely no footwork. So,
interesting.
Well, sorry for my comments, everybody. I just
don't be. It's just,
Well, that's what we're here for, isn't it?
Well, if we can't talk about it, who can? Let's change the subject.
Okay.
What are the benefits of a straight technique over a circular technique?
When you say
I say straight. Okay, right. Let's just look at Let's say back fist. Okay, direct jab, direct. Any straight technique, a front kick, straight. Side kick, it's straight. Okay, as opposed to hooks, uppercuts, spinning techniques. Okay, this is a layman chat, but we haven't really talked about it.
No, so for the layman, then,
for the layman, I just want you to just go through the benefits of straight line techniques versus.
Well, for the layman, then you're creating. You're obviously a lot faster because you're a lot closer. And I noticed you didn't say reverse punch is a straight one, and that's developing power. But it's kind of defeats the object if you're trying to create speed. So in that sense, it's a straight punch, but developing power from the rear end, like a back leg front kick. If you do a front kick from the front leg, it's very quick. If you do a back fist, it's very quick. It's going to be from the front hand. If you're going to do a jab, it's from the front hand. They're all fast. The circular ones are far more, they're stronger. They take a little bit more to develop, which is why they create power, as long as you're using your whole waist when you twist. Because remember, it's not the weight of the arm that hits you, it's the weight of the body weight spinning with it. So a hook is, the body weight turning with it. So not sort of swinging your arms around like so.
Yeah.
And then when you spinning techniques, you're talking about spinning backwards. You're talking about. I can talk.
Well, I talk about let's say a spinning back fist or a spinning back kick, shall we say, or a side
back kick is to develop power, but it's also really trying to fool the person. But I think you have to think about when you're throwing techniques like that, you're throwing them not as, I wouldn't say afterthought. It's like in preparation, you may have done other techniques which force your body to go in a specific way. So if your body's going around to the right, then you're going to continue spinning around to the right. And therefore, the only option you've got
is a spinning
continue to spin around the right, so with the legs coming around behind you or the back fist coming around behind you.
Yeah.
It's the only option you've got. You can't swing one way and then attempt to go the other.
In the counter opposite direction.
Yeah, if you're going to put that kind of energy into it. Yes, you can do a hook that way and then a hook that way, but not in reality. That would be extremely difficult. So you're going to be, punch, hook, uppercut kind of thing, and then maybe do a hook. So you're lining yourself up again, so the body lines up again.
Yeah.
But if you're throwing a technique like that way, then the only option you've got is to continue around because you're going so fast. Yeah. I mean, if you take a look at any Thai boxer and they throw a big turning kick, they do a turning kick, they end up facing, with their back to them, and they've been completely around. But what have they done in between that? Once they've thrown that kick, if it's past you and you can close that gap, yeah, that's all they're going to be able to do.
Well, a lot of them do that, and they tag on a spinning back fist on the end of it or a spinning elbow. So they're using the principle. I think with the more. I mean, I never really liked that.
You can't drop to the down and sweep the leg, can you? Can't drop to the ground. Because if someone's someone's kicking like that, can you not drop to the ground with a sweep?
I don't know in time.
Or a leg trap.
I don't
know.
Well,
there's a couple of examples that you could do if if someone kicks and turns around. If you're moving in, they're going to do an elbow or a back fist.
It's a foregone conclusion after the
unless you just stop them spinning in there.
Just rush into them.
Yeah, exactly. Shoulder press and yeah. So you can do that in a sense. Remember, we used to do it with the sword. Someone spins with the sword.
Absolutely, yeah.
And as they spin with they're coming around the second time with the sword, you can easily stop that sword because people are meant to throw the sword around. I did comment on the Laogar website. Someone was doing a sword. He had a good sword actually because it was cutting through a bottle of water, which was really good. Right. Yeah, but he was doing
a Dao, yeah.
Yeah. He was doing it in the context of the form. So he was spinning around and then chopping. But the trouble is, as he was turning around to chop, his leg had already arrived. So his leg is the target.
Yeah.
So if you're going to spin, you've got to spin that sword around before your leg gets round.
You've got to chop the head off the guy first before your
leg comes around. Otherwise, he's just going to see the target down there, and he's just going to be able to.
Oh, we got a video on our YouTube about that. That's John talked about that very thing. It's and to be fair, it's a hard thing to do, isn't it? Very hard.
It feels awkward, but if your sword's heavy enough, it will take you round, and it will go round first.
Yeah.
So basically, the idea is not to go that direction, but go upwards, and so you're spinning, spinning in a much tighter spin.
Yeah.
But people, a spin can differentiate, can change everything. It all depends on the kind of spin you're going to do.
One of the, you always hear a lot about economy of motion. Anyone who's read old Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do or whatever. Now, he doesn't just solely advocate for straight line techniques, but he kind of will, as the Wing Chun lot, and as we would maybe say as well, a straight line technique is economical, it's fast, but there's got to be certain conditions that preface that.
And number one, you've got to have powerful.
Well, it's not, but you've got to have a clear run to the target. From the point of conception of the punch to the end, target. If there's something in the way, that's where you've got a problem, and that's so.
But I think that's the same with any technique. So, if you think about things like spinning kicks, for instance, it isn't about the power of that kick. That it's about this, if you want to call a stealthy kind of kick. And the reason being, of course, as we've already talked about, the body's going one direction. Perhaps you've thrown other techniques. And when you do that, therefore it's the back leg, remember, that actually does the kick, which means by the time you spin around, that back leg is now the front leg. So you've actually moved a lot closer to the individual, to the target, than that he would expect you to have been. Yeah. So that spinning kick actually extends the length of your kick or your technique, if you like, when you do a spinning kick. So it can be to that end, it can be out of line of sight, if you're not paying attention, or if it's been, if there's been some kind of feint before it, but certainly it extends the length of your kick because you're not kicking with the front leg, you're spinning on the front leg, and the back leg is coming right from the back, and now it's at the front. You know what I mean? So it's extended the length of the technique. So it is, for that reason, a spinning kick is actually a very, very long technique for that reason. But again, and it's difficult to stop if you're out in line of the actual, the foot or the weapon, if you like. Yeah. If you can move in, you could just walk in.
Yeah.
That takes a little bit of understanding.
Where's time? That's a good time.
Again, like with the sword
Yeah.
always puts people off. If you're spinning a sword around and someone, we just used to walk straight in as the sword was coming around, they go to do it again. If they didn't get that leg round, the sword round rather before the leg, you just walk straight into them. It'd be so easy, and you just shoved them away.
Yeah.
And it was even with a sword, and as well as I do, if you tell someone to run around a gym, and you get a couple of people to hold a stick out, or one person to hold a stick out at a certain height, they can jump over. Then they will run around and easily and quite happily jump over that stick as part of their training. They just keep jumping over the stick as they run around. If you then change that stick and put a sword there, a sharp one, psychologically it changes, even if it's the same height.
Yeah, it
changes because they then think about the risk is greater.
Yeah.
And that's so that totally, when someone's throwing a sword around, it's a really great method of training psychologically.
Yeah.
Because if you can move inside a sword, then you've kind of, got a good idea of what you need in your head to do it.
I guess it's that you can't answer that question and say one's better than a straight line or a spinning technique. One's better than the other. They have
different. They have their own merits, I guess.
Yeah, I like some spinning techniques. I like because they have the ability to nullify a technique from an attacker, right? So, for example, if you've got someone, let's say, throw in a front kick at you, right, and you execute a spinning kick. Yeah. What you've inadvertently done is you're creating, centrifugal force. You're just creating a pivot point with your body, and you're taking a target, which is you, around and away, and then you're, at the same time countering with that spinning kick, for example. So it's nullified the original technique. The intention of it was. Because you've taken the target and turning it around,
Well, it's like if you think about when we talk about reverse turning kicks, they're not spinning techniques, if you like, but they're reverse turning kicks. And
that is, in other words, that's a hook kick. Yeah, people would know it as a hook kick. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so they do a hook kick, and of course, you do a hook kick in line, you can be swept and so on.
Because the objective it's coming straight at you.
Yeah, so you're doing a step to the side, and then the hook kick actually comes to the front, not around.
Yeah,
it actually comes to the front because it's the body that actually moves off the target.
Yeah.
So if someone's, as an example, using your example, if someone's doing a front kick, and you step off to the side,
you've got that
kick comes through, you're out of line. You're lifting your foot up, and there's your front kick, but it's direct to the head, to the face, not around it, as people imagine. Only if you stand there and you do it, then it becomes around the person.
Yeah.
And of course, it totally depends on what the situation is.
Oh, 100%. But it is, to do that, it is a lot slower because you are stepping off.
Yeah, but you're stepping off after the event, so which means you're in effect you're countering. I know what you mean. It'd be very slow if he was standing there waiting to fight you. Because if you stepped out, he would see it.
Yeah.
But if he's already in the midst of his technique, then of course you can quickly slip.
Yeah.
So it's like a slip and a jab, or slip and whatever, as someone's throwing a punch.
Yeah.
The same kind of method or ideology, if you like.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting that I remember a lot of people. I mean, when we look at the Lao syllabus doing the reverse turning kick, there's an awful lot of people doing that in line, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right.
Instead of stepping around,
they step in front of themselves.
Yeah,
which makes it a very unbalanced situation because now both legs can be swept.
Yeah.
So it's. I think that the kind of thing is a good counter technique, not a start technique.
Well,
I mean, there are people that can do it like that, but it all depends on who they do it to.
It would have to be a counter, wouldn't it? Because the
it depends
you're
who
going
you're fighting.
offline.
Yeah, it depends who you're fighting at. So the argument, whenever we make an argument about technique or whether it's good for this or good for that, totally depends on who you're fighting.
Oh, 100%.
Because if they don't see it, then it's that's the problem.
Yeah.
You've got.
Yeah. No, it's I do like that. I mean, I love the fact that they're viable. And I used to watch a lot of Muay Thai fighting, and I hated when they threw those turning kicks.
Yeah.
With such tremendous torque and power, and they would end up spinning themselves around. And I'm watching it going, that's the point in which you would close the gap. That's it. That's it there. But then, but then you look at it in the context of the rule set they're fighting in. And actually, in a way, you can see why they're doing it, and it makes sense. Yeah. I think if we look at it, it's like if I look at something from a fencing point of view and try to apply it or from a sword fighting point of view and try to apply it in fencing, it doesn't compute, does it? Because the fencing always wants to be quicker than the sword fight, loosely. So
again, it depends on the weapon, and therefore the tactics will be different.
Yeah. And another thing I see, with a lot of Muay Thai guys, which I kind of really like, I can see definitely get the benefits from it, is the switch kicks. So all they're doing is there's a couple of ways you can do it, but they're just switching the leg. So if they've got their left foot forward, they'll switch their stance, so their right foot's forward, to bring their now left leg from the back and create more power and do a turning kick to the leg, for example. Yeah. Now, you could do that on the same spot, or you could inch closer or whatever and do it. But, it's kind of in the context of a Muay Thai rule set. I think, I kind of like that, because you are gaining a bit more distance. But when we look at fighting strategy and tactics, I mean, because of the background, I've come from, I'm always looking at, is that fast? Is that direct? Does it serve its purpose? So I'm kind of a bit biased in that way. I'm like, well, let's say you're really good. As soon as they switch that leg, that's when you rush in and hit them, right? Because that's the point. That's the go signal before they've even got that leg off the ground. But you'd have to be pretty switched on and, plan a fight, and there are people who are that good. And, I don't like, I've certainly changed a lot in terms of the way I'd see techniques done that are different to what we do. And, because ultimately, I'll be frank with you, I don't think any of it's different to what we do. I think, I look at a kick and I say, well, we do that, but
maybe we've had people talk to us before about, my teacher is teaching me this kick, but I can't see how it works. And I've started doing it like a karate kick, and I'm thinking, what's that mean? What's the difference? Right. Yeah, exactly. What's the difference? But if someone's doing a kick, then any grandmother can kick you in the nuts. So if that kick works, then that kick works. So it's not like, well, wait a minute, I can't make it work. What do you mean you can't make a kick work? You're going to break your toes if you do it wrong. But that's about it. Or you'll fall over. What else can go wrong? Well, this is it. And the way I kind of view techniques and different things or whatever, it's not so much, it's this style's kick, it's that style's punch, it's this style's whatever. I want to try and look at it as a problem that I've got to solve, So I want to take away all the frills of it, this is a Muay Thai style kick and whatnot. No, I want to look at it as a problem. They do. They add frills to try to separate them from the masses.
And I get that, but we've done it. To be fair, we've done it. We talk about Lao and back in the day, and we have a bit of nostalgia about it, which I'm proud of. But we're the first to sort of admit that everything's caught up and sort of kind of balanced out now. In terms of the sport, when we look at the science of a style, there are very few traditional arts that are taught in the way that, and I don't mean to be, flippant about this statement, but from what I've seen, it is true. There's not many the traditional styles that can, boast the science and the thought processes. Certainly,
because they've lost their way. They've broken and split and separated, and they haven't got a following. They haven't got, then they. Obviously, they make it. They make it so that is that President Bush.
No, it's what I want to talk about next. Go on.
Oh, right, okay. They haven't made it their own. They've simply tried to sell it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think whatever they think it's supposed to be doesn't really work for majority of them. And of course, thousands of them die off. And then, of course, it's their students left to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
And their students have less knowledge.
Yeah.
And so therefore, well, depends. But and therefore the style changes all the time because, and then there's the politics of it and the groups, you know, the organization, the association that is claiming everything off you every time. And then people want to do it for a living. People don't want to do it for a living. People are forced to do it for a living when they don't. And people desperately want to do it for a living and they can't, you know, whether they're knowledgeable or whether they're just, you know, stuck with, you know, all the red tape of an organization. So it's gone to pot for that reason. And but there are still good martial arts out there.
Oh, no,
and good martial artists.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What do I want to talk about?
Humphrey Brooms.
No. Come on. Crack the code.
Oh, Jesus. Basil Brush.
Oh, that's the wrong way.
Sweeping.
There you go. See, old man. If there's any flies on you, they're paying rent. Right. Talk to everybody about your specialty subject, your speciality subject. Sweeping.
Well, yeah, when I was younger, sweeping was a really good. Was my forte.
Come on. Now, to be fair, now you're in the winter of your life. You've got you can't kick very high, so you're gonna have to be a sweeper.
Sweeping is absolutely. Sweeping will always be in a great situation. If you can get sweeps off, you're in a really good, easy situation, and it's so great to watch people fall. So that was my interest.
Yeah,
sweeping can be an extremely. The problem is with sweeping is you've got to be deliberate in performing it. You can't kind of half-heartedly do it.
You can't be nice.
No, because the guy's got to go down, and if you haven't got the facilities for him to go down, and that doesn't mean just okay, it's a hard floor, so he's going to land on the floor hard, which will hurt. But sometimes mats are not efficient, not because they're not soft enough or something, but because you can kick someone's leg from under them, and their foot sticks to the mat, and you end up hurting their ankle. So it's got to be done in a specific way. So instead of kicking at their ankle, you're kicking at their heel, because obviously their heel is the last part of the, if you want. So it's going to go much easier than if you were to kick the ankle and, all that against you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure people can feel that if they did it. But yeah, so you've got to get around to that. So it depends totally how you can draw the person, the way he can stand, the way he's fighting, how you can maneuver to apply it. And of course, inside sweeps and everything. But there are some dangers to it when you're training together. You don't want to hurt each other. So it is a very kind of iffy subject for a lot of people to learn.
Well, okay. With that in mind, could you kind of possibly classify certain types of sweeps? Could you give us a list of different types of sweeps? In the broad strokes, what are we? What kind of? Sweeps
I only ever did one sweep, and that was against the back leg. I used to run in and like back fist reverse punch type of thing, and just run in and kick. And as they try to respond to what I was doing, I would be able to sweep the back leg, because they usually take their weight backwards as they're going backwards, so it kind of assists it. I also used to do drop spinning sweeps on the floor as well. And that was good, because people would go not just up onto their back, but they literally would go all the way around like a somersault.
Over you.
Land on their stomach.
Yeah.
And that was a bit too dangerous, because that was solid floors that we used to do that on as well.
Yeah. Well, you had pads on. Yeah, pads on.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought at least you'd have some oven gloves on at least.
No, they used to. Yeah. They used to land on that floor hard.
Okay, right. So I'm not asking you to talk about sort of or classify every technique of sweeping, but maybe outline some sort of basic principles, or
Well, yeah. If you want to sweep, I always say that if you want to sweep, you've got to be standing where your target's standing. Because if you try to sweep from a distance and try to kick his leg and he's standing there or he's moving back, then you're not going to do it. You're just going to hurt your foot.
Right.
You know, so he's either got to be stepping towards you, in which case you can catch his weight as he goes to put it on the front leg.
Right.
So that's easy enough to do, both inside and outside. Or outside is a safer bet, but inside is an easier bet, but it's not so nice for him.
No.
And likewise, if you're moving forward, then he's going backwards. Then you'll go to try to force him to go backwards, in which case, of course, you can take the leg as his weight is moving backwards.
Right.
And it puts all the weight on that leg, but it's still easy to sweep because it's in transition.
Yes.
So, yeah, so that's the way I would do it. But you have to be standing in exactly the same spot as your target is. In other words, like I say, you can't do it from a distance.
No.
That's what I'm talking about, the back when he's moving backwards. You've got to go where he's.
If you look at a front leg sweep,
then you could be moving backwards with him.
Yeah, but
you're moving with him then.
Yeah, but for a front leg sweep, even if you just check the leg to momentarily take it off, then
if his weight's not on it, but he's coming forward, then yes, you can.
Yeah.
But don't leave your arms hanging down because you'll just get smacked in the mouth.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with it. Any inside sweep, because he just has to stick out a punch.
That's why it's got to be stealthy.
Yeah,
that's why it's got to be stealthy, and he's got to be kind of trying to defend himself as you do it. So you're really trying to take up all his
attention.
Attention.
Hello.
Yeah, his attention has got to be up here.
Yeah.
And completely irrelevant down there.
Yeah.
And of course, when they're doing kicks as well, spinning kicks, reverse turning kicks, they're easy to sweep.
Yes. Yeah. If you can classify a sweep in your what makes a sweep as opposed to a leg kick?
It's got to be hitting the floor. You've got to be sweeping it off the floor. You can't be kicking the calf.
So when you say off the floor, imagine if your foot is flat on the floor, you're scooping it up. That would be a sweep, right?
Yes, that's exactly. Yes.
But if you are kicking the calf,
that's
or
not
the back of the leg.
That's a leg kick.
Right. So we've got to be, clear about this.
Yeah, because there's leg kicks are not allowed in a lot of competitions. So
okay. So, but
semi-contact anyway.
What if my leg kick is really low and it kicks his ankle? Is that not a sweep then?
To be honest with you, it all depends really on how, what you do. If you're kicking it with the inside of your foot, in other words, the
bottom,
the instep of your foot.
The instep, right? That's the top of your foot.
The top of your foot.
Yeah, the top of your foot.
You're going to break your bones.
Yeah.
You're going to hurt yourself if you're kicking his ankle. Right. So the idea is literally to scoop it like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can scoop it, then you're going to do less damage to him, apart from the fall, of course, and then less damage to yourself. But particularly, you're worried about yourself.
But what about when you do a spinning sweep? Isn't that classified as a leg kick?
No, because you're still going right to the floor and your foot is sliding along the floor.
Right. So there we go. So if you're sliding along the floor, if you're in contact with the floor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So basically just drop to the floor and sweep.
Yeah.
And just spin your foot round as if you were wiping the floor, literally sweeping the floor. With your leg. Yeah, so it's totally as low as possible. The lower you go, the easier it is to sweep in. Obviously, the more weight above.
What's the other one I remember George Shaw doing? Someone would throw a front kick to him, right? And as that front kick's in the air, just before it lands, with his lead leg, he'd hook their front leg with his lead leg and drag it backwards, so they couldn't put it on the floor to land it properly. So they do a front kick, and you do a front kick, you want to land it on the floor,
and then you just tip it.
As they go to put it on the floor, you hook it up with your leg and drag them back. And they
that's right. Yeah.
They do the splits.
Yeah, because as long as their weight is coming forwards, otherwise it's difficult.
Yeah.
Their weight's got to be forwards as they do it. So if they are trying to reach you and you're moving backwards, encouraging them to, and then that is a very, very simple sweep to do. It's very like, and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like a leg check, as you say.
Yeah.
It's very simple to pick them up, to take them from that, because there's no weight.
No.
There's absolutely no weight on that leg, and they just, it's coming. It's on its way, and that's why they go to put it down, but there's no leg to put it down on. The leg's now in the air.
In the air, yeah.
Yeah, and so they're just going to go straight down. Sweeps are a beautiful thing. They're always been my favorite technique, no matter what. And I was, swept everybody that I fought.
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I just thought we'd have a chat about that because I know how much you like them. Yeah,
I like sweeps.
I love it. I love
sweeps.
it. I just wish I was better at them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sweeps.
Here's my wife.
What?
You coming in?
Hey, Jackie, you all right?
We're gonna have to go now.
Okay. We gotta go. We've been told. No worries. Well, where you going?
We got to go to dinner.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that was.
We had no electricity today. Luckily, yesterday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Thanksgiving in Canada.
Right.
And so most people have their Sunday roast today.
Yeah.
And of course, all the way up this street where they had the car accident, knocked down damaged some pylon, some electrical pylon. So no one's had any electrical day. So I have a feeling a lot of people are not going to be eating their Sunday lunch today. But we had ours yesterday.
Okay.
So because I had a day off yesterday.
Well,
because of Thanksgiving.
No problem. You got to go. But before we go, we got to extend a big thank you out to everybody who's newly subscribed to us on YouTube.
Yep.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And, as ever, send in some comments, some questions or whatever. More than welcome. Any ideas you want us to talk about, just send it our way. And we'll eventually get around to it.
I think they get the colour of the cut of our jib, I should say. They get the cut of our jib, so we are prepared to, if people throw something at us and say, "Oh yeah, but what? Yeah, what about this then?"
Yeah.
I'm going to say anything is possible.
Absolutely,
including be attacked by 2 dead turkeys.
As you were. Oh
yes, I have a bad thumb. Where is it? There it is. It's bruised. Yeah, I was sticking a turkey in the cart, and then the other one I put in and trapped my finger between them as I slipped out my hand, frozen. Yeah. What can you do?
Well, I know. What can you do?
Attacked by a dead turkey.
And on that bombshell, it's goodbye from me, James Still, and it's goodbye from you.
Yeah, Steve.
We're going.
Sorry.
But we got to go now. See you, gang. Okay. Thanks for joining us. Speak soon. What's that? What's that? I can't see it. They are coming at 5:30. And no, I can't read it all. And don't have much time. Right, okay. Go now. All right, go. See you, old man. Take care, gang. Thanks for joining us, people. See you soon on the next episode of the Kung Fu Podcast.
You can tell we're not in control.
What? No one is. See you, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Concentrate on your enemy's weak points. The eye, the throat, the knackers.
Hi guys, thanks so much for joining us on the Kung Fu Podcast. If you like that and you want to find out more about us, you can head over to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or YouTube and find us under SJN Martial Arts. And also guys, this podcast is available on Podbean and iTunes. So until next time, take care of yourselves and we'll see you again on the Kung Fu Podcast.
Karate punch is like an iron bar, whack. A Kung Fu punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end and it go whang.
Can you break a log like that?
Don't know. Never been attacked by 3.